Greetings, welcome to another edition of the GIR. You might think it's Greens in Regulation, but it's the Golf Industry Roundtable. I'm Kyle Taylor, he's Rob Hoffman. We have another exciting show for you today. Rob, why don't you kick us off and we'll get going.
We, as golfers, are always super excited to get to talk to manufacturers of any kind of equipment we use. And the most important equipment is the ball, of course. And we're excited to have Wes Whittingham, Vice President of Sales for Volvik USA, with us today. So welcome aboard, Wes.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Good to see you.
Wes, why don't we kind of start off with Volvik is among the newer players in the golf ball space. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the origin of the company, origin of product, kind of how everything's evolved for Volvik over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. So Volvik is a Korean-based company. We have two manufacturing plants there. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary, as a matter of fact, this year, and our 15th anniversary here in the United States. Volvik is an amazing brand from the standpoint that it's introduced color to the game. Certainly here in the United States, it's evident in our #1 matte finish product called Vivid. And you know, the great thing about what companies in Korea and Japan, et cetera, that have always brought to the U.S. market, whether it's in golf balls or shafts or even club heads, has always been color and kind of a flair for different components of the game. And so Volvik has 11 different color combinations in golf balls. We have 3 different types of finishes, and we have 48 different options in our golf ball product line assortment. And it's amazing what our engineers have been able to develop and bring to the market for players of all skill sets, whether they're the tour player or the recreational player, which we're seeing a significant growth in over the last 2 or 3 months during the pandemic.
Fantastic. I mean, I guess maybe I misspoke a little bit then in calling you guys kind of a new player. I did not know it had been 40 years. So you've really been around for quite a while, even though just 15 in the U.S. Can you tell us about that a little bit? I mean, entering a market with, I guess what, could be considered established players, what,
Right.
Some of the challenges have been, how you guys have overcome it, has it been through some of the uniqueness of your offering? What's been, what's contributed to such a trajectory of becoming such a well-known brand?
Sure. So, as all of us know, the U.S. is the biggest market in the golf industry. And, relatively speaking, golf has always been a very traditional game, and the sale of white golf balls up until the last 5 or 6 years probably made up 95, 96% of all golf balls sold. But 5 years ago, that percentage started changing, and today over 12% of all golf balls sold have some type of color. Let's put it that way. If you combine everything, and of course I'm excluding range balls and some of those types of things, but actual playing type of golf balls in color now make up 12%. I'm projecting that's going to double within the next 3 years. And I'm also going to make one of my wild ass statements and say that in the next 10 years, it's very conceivable that color golf balls will outsell traditional white as the demographic of our population and players, et cetera, continues to change and evolve. And as we continue to engage and embrace new players, I think you're going to continue to see more and more color golf balls out on the golf course.
What contributes to that? Is it just for the flavor of it? People just want to be using something different because they're easier to find, they're easier to see while they're in the air.
Sure, and I think you just hit on it. I think they're easier to see, they're easier to see on the ground. It's easier to track while they're in the air. All of us playing a white golf ball have had those times where you've lost the ball in the horizon on a slightly cloudy day. And white golf balls during certain times of the year are just harder to track because of the horizon issue, etc., than a color golf ball. And believe it or not, our number one selling golf ball is green. So that's the last color in the world that you would probably suspect would be the number one seller. But green, especially this lime, almost fluorescent green color, creates such a great contrast in the air and also on the ground that it's very easy to see. And the other beautiful thing about color golf balls is that from a focus standpoint, it's much easier to focus your attention on the ball, on the shot, than it is on a white golf ball.
Very cool. Kyle, you're muted.
I was afraid my dog was going to bark, so I put the mute on. Wes, why do you think you don't see more pros playing the colored ball? Is it just a function of endorsement contracts, or, I'm always surprised that, some of them haven't embraced the color as well.
Yeah, and I think it's what they're accustomed to playing as they have started their career and played competitively. I think certainly the endorsement piece is part of that, and where that particular company wants to focus their attention in terms of consumer sales. It costs a little bit more to make color golf balls. There's more lines that it takes from a manufacturing standpoint in terms of dedicated manufacturing time and energy and space. So it's not as efficient making all these different colors as it would be if you're just simply focused on white golf balls. So there's certainly an efficiency standpoint from a manufacturing perspective. But in terms of players, I mean, you're already starting to see several senior tour players and even players on the PGA Tour playing yellow. And I think on the LPGA, I know we have 8 different players on the LPGA. Please don't ask me to repeat their names because I would butcher that situation. But our players all play color products. And, we make white golf balls as well as our color products. But I think this is just a simple situation where over time we're going to continue to see more and more players start switching to some type of a color product.
Well, I've joked on this show a couple of times. I've waited 17 years to get my son to finally play golf with me, and it wasn't until COVID. But one of the things that helped was letting him pick out his favorite comic hero ball. Can you take us through the evolution of the Marvel series, and really more the business side? Because I mean, what an amazing deal you guys have put together with them, and I think it's been a home run for you with sales. But comment on that if you would.
Right, no question about it, and it's a great question. So the Marvel licensing, the worldwide licensing agreement that we have was developed by our parent company in Volvik, Korea, and it has certainly been a home run for us. There's 7 different characters that we have in our lineup right now. Ever since we introduced this here in the United States back in 2019, it's just been a fantastic addition to the line. And I think the interesting part is not just players like your son's age, but I've been to the Hagen Oaks Expo out in Sacramento, California in April last year, and we had our entire booth stocked with 5 different Marvel characters, and we were bringing in people every age, men, women, playing ability. It didn't matter. Everybody was grabbing onto that, saying, "Oh my God, that's so cool. We want to pick that up." And our retail partners, no matter what the trade channel has been, whether it's e-com or sporting goods, brick and mortar, golf specialty retailers, et cetera, have all done a fantastic job with it. And, I worked for a company a few years ago in the golf ball segment, and one of our licenses was with the NFL. which was a great license, don't get me wrong, but it's only as good as the team's record. And by the time you get to the end of October, sales of at least 50% of the teams probably is starting to take a nosedive.
Yeah, nobody wants to
About
tee it up with the
Marvel,
last place team, huh?
yeah, and the beauty about Marvel is that, you know, these guys are undefeated basically. And so, you know, it just continues to go on. And every time a movie is introduced, and of course, there's going to be a Black Widow introduction later on this year, like sales spike, you know, sales take off, interest peaks, and especially during the holiday season, we really see a great spike in sales in all of those different trade channels we just talked about.
Yeah, it's got to be a great gift pack. Well, you teased the Black Widow. Is there expansion to the line, or anything you can sort of tip your hand to what we can expect from Volvik?
You bet. So we just added Black Widow to the line last month. We're shipping that now. So she is, of course, the first character that is really directly focused, where we now have a female Marvel character. And you know, one of the things that we picked up from a lot of golf professionals that we've sold these products to, a lot of the golf professionals use this in their junior camps as a reward for, you know, job well done, you know, or executing different techniques or etiquette or whatever it might be. And so they've been purchasing and then using our different Marvel gift packs as that reward element for their junior camps. But one of the things that came through loud and clear to us is that the girls didn't have a character that they could associate with. And so consequently, now that we've launched Black Widow, all those girls out there have that opportunity, and we're delighted to be able to add Black Widow to a group that includes Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, which seems to be everybody's favorite, Black Panther, and you know, and of course Spider-Man. And so this is a group that is, you know, we brought it in several different reiterations, whether it's in a gift pack. We're also selling it in bulk in these loose ball bins that you may find at a PGA Tour Superstore or an Edwin Watts shop or one of those types of retailers in golf specialty trade channel. And it just does fantastic in that arena.
Les, I know we're talking a lot about you know, appearance of the ball, but can you tell us, you know, I'm curious from a golfer's perspective, you know, how the ball stacks up with all the other normal things that we've always talked about, you know, launch angles, spin rates, you know, distance, all of those things. You know, what are you guys doing to match performance, you know, within the market, or do better than than other manufacturers?
Right, which is, you know, and Rob, I've been in the golf industry 35 years, and I've got to tell you that it's hard to, you know, see some significant advances in different categories, and I think that especially in the golf ball space, you know, our friends at the USGA have provided a governor of sorts on the golf ball in terms of initial ball velocity and putting limits on that to make sure that it's conforming, both in diameter, weight, etc. Having said that, we pride ourselves on the fact that we build a product for every type of skill set, whether it's in the urethane cover category or the Surlyn category. There was a golf site that did some extensive testing on urethane products a year ago. And one of our products, the Tour S4, actually came out as the second best selling, or the second best performing product, both in distance off the tee, deviation, or the tightness of the ball, and the lack of side spin, which is certainly important, and also wedge spin, so you have pinpoint control and accuracy around the greens. One of the things that really drives our Volvik product that is different from every other manufacturer, and really, to me, what what's the unique element behind one of the unique elements behind Volvik as a manufacturer is the core, and the core is the engine of the golf ball. No different than the shaft would be the engine of a golf club. The core is the engine of the ball, and we build our core completely different from other manufacturers. We've engineered this so the center of the core is the hardest part of the golf ball, and then as you move to the exterior, the core of the golf ball actually becomes softer and softer. We do that so it's easier to compress and to increase ball velocity with every single club in the bag, not just the driver, but on off your iron shots. And, you know, that's evident by some of the tests that have been done on our product, both off the tee and off the irons. You know, our products test out consistently as well or better than any of our competitors' products. The other key difference is all the finishes that we bring. So we have a glossy finish, we have a matte finish, which is what we introduced to the golf space 3 or 4 years ago. And then we also have a new metallic finish that we just introduced at the PGA show, which seems like a decade ago, but it was actually back in January of this year. And, you know, the cool thing about the matte finish, which is really what I think has captured everybody's imagination and what is on our Vivid product, is it makes the ball really look like a ping pong ball. You know, it disguises the dimples, and so you don't see the clear definition of each of the dimples. And so it by doing that, by kind of camouflaging the dimples, that finish though actually has a performance benefit. And the performance benefit to the matte finish is that it actually reduces spin off of a driver, and it actually increases friction or spin off your wedge shots in around the green. And the third and last thing that it actually provides to this is it has an interesting impact to sound. You know, so we associate sound with feel. And so if things sound perhaps a little dull, it sounds soft. And if it sounds real loud and clicky, it'll sound hard. And so consequently, our matte finish really does a lot of different things, but you know, those are the 3 performance benefits to our matte finish product. So, you know, again, all the way from our 3 urethane products, the S4, S3, and the just introduced XT Soft, which received a gold medal on the Golf Digest Hot List. And that's a softer compression urethane product, all the way through the Vivid products, all of our matte finish products, the XT, AMT, all the way to our 2-piece products, which include the VMAX Soft. All of those products are engineered, designed, and built for the different skill sets of all these different players now that are out on the golf course all of a sudden.
You know, I know we have a lot of golf professionals that listen to us, but you know, in this time of increased participation in golf, we've got a lot of people that are newer to the game that are tuning in here too. Yeah. So let's, you know, for them, let's kind of address some of the things you talked about with spin rates there. Sure. Side spin, wedge spin. You know, to me, when I hear those things, and you know, I'd like to hear a little bit more from you, but reducing side spin is going to cut down on slices or hooks of the ball. Reducing wedge spin, or work, not so much reducing, controlling wedge spin is going to allow you to control what the ball does in the air a little bit more than what it does on the ground. Correct? So can you expand on those a little bit for, you know, a beginning to medium level golfer that really doesn't understand some of the spin benefits of a golf ball?
Sure. So, you know, any player that's relatively new to the game, and especially if they're going out to purchase any kind of equipment, and of course, as you said at the top of the show, the golf ball, which I'd like to say is the most important piece of equipment in the bag, because it's the only piece of equipment that you use on every single shot. But the most important thing is to be properly fit to whatever equipment that you're buying, and that also includes the golf ball. Now, for years, everybody has been looking at the holy grail of more distance off the tee, and you'll consistently hear people say low spin, high launch with a driver as being, the perfect combination. But that's not necessarily true. What you really want to do, though, is you really want to make sure that a player has enough spin to keep the ball in the air, because the ball is not spinning, it's going to fall out of the sky. If a ball has too much spin, it upshoots into the air, and it actually may look good, but it doesn't go anywhere. Consequently, if you have a ball that has too low of a spin, you're really not maximizing the true efficiency of the golf ball, and also the efficiency out of your swing on the shot. So, we were associated, for example, for the past 3 years with the World Long Drive Championship. And so working with those long drive athletes, which is exactly what they are, they bring a tremendous amount of clubhead speed to the game. And, we're talking about players that are that have clubhead speeds in excess of 145 to 150 miles per hour. And they're creating ball velocity that's in the high 190s to 200s. And, that kind of impact and force is creating some incredible amounts of spin. But even with them, what they want to really try and do is create a situation where they're creating a spin rate somewhere in the 2,800 to low 3,000 rate, and minimize, of course, their side spin, which is really their Achilles heel, because they've got to, of course, keep the ball in a grid. So when they're bombing at 400 yards, it not only has to be out there in distance, but it also has to be straight. So, everybody really needs to appreciate the fact that no matter if you're a world long drive player, a tour player with, say, 110 mile per hour clubhead speed and ball velocity of 165 miles per hour, or the weekend player who has 90 mile per hour clubhead speed and a ball velocity in the 130 mile per hour range. In every single case, what you really want to do is make sure that you're playing with a product that is creating enough spin to keep the ball in the air, and that 26 to 2,800 RPM is really kind of the ideal range with a driver. And you really want to have a launch angle above 12 degrees is the ideal for the recreational player.
Fantastic. Kyle, do you have anything else?
Sounds like you sort of need a buyer's guide to assess the ball quality to fit your clubhead speed and your playing capability.
Well, Kyle, I think that for years, a lot of people have really purchased golf balls for two basic reasons, right? Or two basic elements. One is price, how much does it cost? And they associate that, of course, to how many golf balls am I going to go out and lose today? So it's almost like they're looking at it as a form of ammo. It's a consumable. And so how many of these things am I going to buy? And with a high incidence that I'll probably not find a bunch of them. Then you've got the other flip side of this, on the other side of the spectrum, where you have players that are spending in the 40s, $45 or above for a dozen golf balls that are urethane, typically 3 or 4 layer products, and they're buying it specifically to suit their needs with what we just talked about, and that is spin rate, feel, performance around the greens. And everybody has a specific strength to their game, whether it's their iron game, their short game, off the tee, etc. And so a lot of players are buying products that really fit into what their game strengths are, or at least they should be. And
Yeah.
so you're right. Buying the product that really fits your needs is the critical nature to me of buying all these products. Because when you walk into a retail store, my God, there's probably in excess of 30, 40 different models of golf balls at price points that go from maybe $15 all the way up to 50.
Mhm.
And you've got this huge assortment of construction and color and all sorts of different things that are associated with it. So I can imagine as a consumer walking in and really not knowing what to purchase. It's a pretty tall order to walk in and confidently figure out what suits your game the best. But I think, the best forum, of course, besides podcasts, et cetera, and listening to shows like this, is go online and start looking at different manufacturers' websites. Um, Certainly, Google, I'm sure, probably provides a lot of information on golf ball fitting, but the fitting elements are out there. And to me, it's making sure that you're fitting the needs of your game to the type of product that is best suited for that.
So Wes, I've joked. I'll ask you this question because I've joked from episode to episode in the previous ones. I'm done talking about COVID. I don't want to hear about it anymore, or whatever. But it's undeniable that there have been changes to the golf industry, mostly for the positive here. So can you share a little bit with us about some of the trajectory with Volvik as it relates to COVID and its, the space of golf balls and golf ball sales, within the industry as to what's been happening and what you guys are kind of forecasting?
Sure, Rob, love to. So, while the pandemic has created a lot of challenges and constraints on people in all sorts of different areas of their life, the one great thing that's happened to the golf industry, of course, is that we've seen an incredible increase in rounds played, and the participation rates are up, and we're seeing golfers that are just picking up the game, that have decided to come out and try this and enjoy a game that all of us certainly embrace and love. And so, that's been a wonderful outcome of something this tragic. But the thing that we're seeing right now is, with rounds played up 25% or more in several regions and areas of the country, we're also seeing, of course, the associated impact, the positive impact of golf ball sales being up 28% in the month of July, which is unprecedented. And we're also seeing unprecedented demands in all the other golf equipment categories, whether it's woods, irons, putters, what have you. And so while we still may be behind a little bit from our year-to-date numbers, the last 60 days especially, and I'm sure August is going to ring up the same way as June and July, we've seen some unprecedented numbers come out in terms of purchases. And, all that leads to good things. It's now the challenge for us as an industry is keeping people out there. And, at Volvik, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to push the aspect of really what is the heartbeat of the brand. And that is the color concepts of our product, all the enjoyable things that people can pick up on with our Marvel license goods, et cetera. And so we're going to continue to push that. And certainly, for your listeners, if they are having a hard time finding any of our products, they're more than welcome to visit our site, Volvik, VOLVIK.com. But they can find our products at all the major retailers, certainly online with all the major golf retailers as well, and hopefully at their local pro shops. But we're excited about the potential, and we're looking forward to 2021 and seeing what we can continue to build on with all these new players that we have out there at the golf course.
Very cool.
Well, the Taylor boys have contributed a few cases of the Hulk green ball, so that may be the boost in your numbers.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, we want to thank you for being on the show, the Golf Industry Roundtable, and all that you and Volvik do for the game of golf. So, appreciate your time. Would love to have you back on in a few months.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Would love to do it.
Good. Thanks so much, Wes. I'm Rob Hoffman. It's Kyle Taylor. Thanks to Wes Whittingham from Volvik USA being on. We'll look forward to seeing you guys again soon.